everyone. Back today, as it's the 5th of the month, to share with you the hashtag FFC Challenge 2023, hosted by Monica Lakuska, otherwise known as Paper Mona. Now, this is a funfold card challenge where several of us are taking part in this challenge, and we make a specified funfold card each month, and we upload on the 5th of the month. So in the description box below will be the list of all the people who are taking part, and so you can go over to their channels and see their inspiration. And there's also a Facebook group where you can share your makes on this particular funfold. So in April, we're making this card, which is called a double slider card. So it opens up like that. And this card has been, in my version, has been made with a stand. So you can stand it up. You can see that. And this is what it looks like. This is just the template that I use to understand how to make this card. So it's nothing in particular. But it's just an idea. So let's get ahead and make it. So you will need several pieces of card. Now you can use whatever color card you want. Obviously I'm using white, but you can use whatever color you want as a base. And you want to cut this piece at 4.5 by 11 inches. And you want to score it at 4.5, 9, 9 7/8, and 10 3/4. Okay, so I'll repeat that: 4.5 by 11 inches, and on the long side, score it at 4.5, 9, 9 7/8, and 10 3/4. So that's the first piece. Then you want a piece for the mechanism, and this is 4.25 square. Okay, and we'll come back to that in a minute. Then you need, for the panels, so these bits that slide out, so for this bit you need a piece you need two pieces which are 4.25 by 3.5 inches, and you also need the reinforcer. Well, in my case that's what I'm using. You don't actually have to use a reinforcer, because if you look, when it closes, these pieces do jut out, so you could in fact just get hold of those to pull it out. But the tutorial I saw, she used these, and I think it's a good idea. So the reinforcers are 4.5 by 2.5, and you need two of those each. Okay, 4.25 by 3.5 and 4.5 by 2.5. And if you want to, you can round the edges on one edge. Okay, so for me, this will be the right hand one that goes out. I've also cut a mat for my for this card, and this mat is 3.25 by 4. Okay, and of course you want two of those as well. So that's those. And then for the front, so for this part, you need a piece that is 4.5 by 4.5. And then if you want to cut a mat, you can. So I think this one is 4.25 by 4.25. And then you can place an image on the top. So this is my front piece. Okay, now I'm just going to show you what I'm using. I'm using this for my card. I'm using this Cut and Craft value pack, an English country garden from Hunky Dory. I don't know if this is still available, but it was on offer a while ago and really great value. So all the papers that I'm using and the images I'm using are from here. Okay, right, so let's get started. So first of all, we can prepare our mats and layers. Okay, so I'm just going to stick that down. If the glue will work. Come on. There we go. Oh, I just remembered actually that I used the tutorial from Sam Culcut, and she said actually it's better to use double-sided tape rather than glue, because just in case the card warps. So I'm going to do that for the rest of the the rest of the cards. Okay, got some double-sided tape here. So okay, so that's the front of my slider bit, and then the reinforcer, it goes like this, so that you've got more or less 1/4 of an inch on both sides, and it hangs over on one side. So like so. I'm just going to see whether if I glue it that way, whether, no, I was wondering whether the pencil would show, and it doesn't, so that's what I'm going to do. So you don't want to put glue on this bit here, so I'm just going to line it up so that it's level with the top of this, more or less. Okay, like so, and then put the double-sided tape around the rest of it. Now I am actually using quite thin card base, so that is up to you how thick the card you want, but I'm just saying that so to tell you that it is sturdy enough to make this card. Okay, okay, so let's get rid of these. Okay, and we're going to stick that so that it's roughly in the middle. I think that's about right. And straight, and so you get something like that. So let's do the other side. Should really have prepared these before I came on camera. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, this way you can see in real time how long it takes to put together. And can always fast forward if you don't want to watch me do this. Okay. Suddenly thought I'd put the tape on the wrong thing, but no, I haven't. Okay. So if you're using a dimensional paper, you do need to make sure that you've got your right and left panels in the right place, obviously, because it will show when you glue it together. So when I did mine, although my things are dimensional, I could have done it so that they were actually, it doesn't matter, either way is fine. Okay, they look the same, but you know, it's just to be aware of that. Okay, I'm going to stick this down, so there will be an edge all the way around, so. And then this piece again, I'm going to line this up so I get the top of the card here, so I know not to put the tape any higher than that. So that's that. I suppose if you've got a tape runner, that would make life a bit easier here, but we're using what we've got. So I forgot to say, you also need a piece of plastic, which is 8 inches by 3.5, and the plastic needs to be not crinkly cellophane, but fairly strong plastic. And I actually got this from a piece of packaging that, in fact, I undid the white card. It was encased in a plastic sleeve because I was thinking, oh, where am I going to get that from? So it needs to be fairly mobile, but also not making a crinkly noise when you rub it together. So you don't want the normal cellophane packet, for example. Right, so I've done that one. Right, okay, so this is it. So we're going to line this up so it's more or less equal on both sides. You should have about, I don't know, 3/4 of an inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch. It's 1/4 of an inch on both sides. Okay, so that's those 2 panels done. And the other thing that we need to do is the mechanism. Now the mechanism, you need to measure down 3/8 of an inch. So 3/8 of an inch, just there, on all corners. 3/8 of an inch, and this round. 3/8 of an inch. 3/8 of an inch. Of an inch. This is the only fiddly bit about this card, I would say, and it's not really fiddly. 3/8 of an inch. It's just, you just need to be a bit precise, okay? 3/8 of an inch. And what I do is I just join these pencil marks together all the way around. Okay. Like so. Okay, and then we're going to cut out this middle bit on 2 sides. Doesn't matter which sides you choose because it's a square, but you just want to cut up to there and there, and then cut this out. Okay, so you're basically making a shape for your plastic to fit on. So cut up there, and that holds your plastic in place. Okay, right, so there we go. It's going to go up there, like so. These bits you can throw away, and it doesn't matter that you've got pencil lines all over it because it's not going to show. Okay, then you get your piece of plastic and you fold it through those little arms, okay, through these and through there, okay, and just make sure it's straight. It's not to make it tight, but just tight enough so that it will move, okay, because this is the mechanism that you're going to be that moves the cards in and out. Okay, so then you want to put a strip of tape down on top of one end. You don't want the tape to go over the edge, so you don't want any sticky bits that could catch on them on the edge of the paper. Okay, so just make sure there are no sticky bits. and then you bring the other side over, okay, and just glue that, stick that down, and then cut off this excess, okay. Right, that's that. So that should then fold and go around nicely. If it doesn't, I've got a bit of excess plastic here. Okay. Okay. Looks to me as though this piece of plastic is a bit too wide, so I'm just going to trim that off. I have to say I had a bit of trouble cutting this because of course plastic moves. I think that's better. Yeah, that's better. And then leave your plastic at one end, okay? At one end of the just going to cut this a bit as well. This isn't straight. Okay, right. So this is our mechanism now. So get one of your tabs. So get the right hand tab, okay, and we're going to put it on here, okay. So we're just going to put a strip of tape here on the back, like so. Okay, and take that off. Actually, I might put a second strip because this double-sided tape is quite narrow. So, okay. So we take those two off, and we're going to stick this on top of here. Oops. Making sure, I think it's easier if we need to line it up with this edge. Make sure that it's in the middle. Oops. Okay. Up with this edge. Okay, like so. Okay, so now we've got one tab, and then you want to turn it over, and you want to get the other tab, only this time instead of putting the tape on the back, you're going to put it on the front. Okay, so there. Cut this off. I don't want any tape overhanging the mechanism, because we don't want any gluey bits getting in the way. Okay, so we do that, and then take this off. Okay, like so. And you line it up with the edge of the mechanism, like so, like so. And there you have the mechanism. Well, it doesn't work well, and it works like that. Okay, so that's the mechanism. Now we'll go to the base, and we're going to score we've already scored it, so we're going to fold that in half, and that will make the front of the card. This will be the back, and this will make the stand. So you want to mountain, valley, like so. I've done it the wrong way round. Doesn't matter, we'll do it the right way round now. So you want to get something like that, and then you bring this over and you stick it down, okay, and that makes your card base. Now I'm trying to think. Oh, yes, I want to rub this pencil mark out now. It's not a very good rubber, but anyway. It might have been better to have left the pencil. Okay, so I'm going to put a strip of sellotape here, the double-sided sellotape along here. Again, you can use glue. For this bit, you can definitely use glue. Just be careful that the glue doesn't run onto the other parts of the mechanism, the stand rather. So we're going to take this off, like so, and we're going to fold that down so that it comes level with the bottom, like so. Okay, just going to burnish that again, and there we have the base. Okay, so now we want to take this bit and we want to turn it onto the back, and you need to use double-sided foam for this bit. If you've got strips, that's great. If not, well, you know, you can cut up what you've got, and that will work as well. But I've got some strips here, so along this part here, which isn't attached to anything, the part of the mechanism, we're just going to put our strips. Okay, 1/4 of an inch wide should be plenty, and I've got a bit here just for that end bit. Okay, so I'm using 2 because these strips are quite narrow, but also, yeah. Okay, so put those along here, like so, and then a little bit here at the end. And then, okay, take off the backing sheet, like so. I think you need to use foam that is relatively deep. You know, I mean, 1 millimeter won't do. So I think this one is 3 millimeters deep, and it seems to work fine. Okay, so you can choose which you want as the front and the back, but as this has got the join here, I'm going to use this side. Okay, and we're going to stick that down on top of here. Okay, now if you remember, it's 4 and the mechanism is 4 1/4, and the actual card bank is 4 1/2. So you want to cut it down, I mean stick it down so that it's hidden. Okay, right, and now we need to do the same on this bit. So we've done the back, and now we need to do the front. So again, we're going to use that narrow strip that is above the mechanism, and pop that here, and then pop this here. I'll stick this down already because I know I'm going to need that. And then these 2 strips. When I did this the first time round, I did it wrong. I stuck this bit down first, and of course it was totally wrong. So okay, so I take these bits off. See, these strips are marvelous for doing shakers. So you know, they're ready made for you, really, and very often the frames of shakers are quite thin, aren't they? So, and now you need to get the front piece, your front, and stick it on top, and it should line up with the base, the front base of the base. Okay, so like that. Okay, and then these two slide in and out, so that's good. So all that's needed now is to decorate it. So I will be using my glue for this, if it works. I think it must be near the end. Right, okay, so I've got my mat here, and I've got this picture which I'm going to put down on top. Now, if you want to do any stamping or anything like that, I would highly recommend that you do it before, and you stick, you know, you make sure that the side panels are decorated as much as you want before putting it together. Now, I haven't done that for a reason, because I want to know if I've got these two elements here, which I want to stick here and here. Now, there were two reasons. One was I wasn't sure how far these would come out, so where to stick these. And the other reason was I wasn't sure whether the mechanism could take that. But I think it will, so I'm going to try. Because this, obviously it has to be flat. You can't have things with dimension on these side flaps. But I think it will work. And I wanted to be able to put these circles in the middle of the I think it will work. Fingers crossed when I do this one. Because you've got that 3/8 of an inch, 3 millimeter gap when you've, you know, glued it on. I think that does give us a bit of leeway. Okay, so let's see. It works perfectly, and the more you do this, the easier the mechanism becomes. So if it's a bit stiff at first, just play about with it. Whoops. Now somebody has asked me to make a Mother's Day card for her, so, and she has chosen this image, so I'm going to stick this Happy Mother's Day here, I think. There. And there we have it. So there is our double slider card with stand. Okay. So it isn't actually, I mean, it might look a bit daunting. And I have to say, when I first saw the video, I thought, oh my goodness. But it's not that daunting, and it does come together very easily. So do give it a try. And as I said, do go over to all the other people's channels and see what inspiration they use. I'm sure there'll be a lot of different sizes and shapes. Oh, I didn't tell you that. This has now measures 4.5 by 5.5. So it should fit in, let's see what size envelope it fits in. I'm just getting an envelope. It will definitely fit in a 5x7. I don't know whether it will fit in an A6 envelope. No, it won't. I've got this one here, which is slightly, no. So a 5x7 envelope, or make your own. And now I'm just going to see whether this will go through as a ordinary post. Okay, so let's see, because of course, let's see. So I'm putting it through this slot. Let's see. Yeah, it goes through. So it should be able to go as a as an ordinary letter. Okay, however, if it's this bit here which makes the bulk, so if you want, you can pull that bit out, and that still fits in a 5x7, and it goes through much easier. So depending on the thickness of your layers, you can actually get away with it by pulling this bit out, but I'm going to leave it like that because mine fits. So there we have it. Take care, everybody. Have a lovely rest of the day, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now.